Hi everyone, in this week's dispatch video we've got a quick query on time off in lieu policies. Some companies operate these essentially when an employee reaches their contracted working hours instead of paying either nothing or overtime rates. Some businesses will operate a policy where certain additional hours can be banked and then taken off at a later date. One of the questions we've had is what the risks are associated with operating that policy. And the first that many won't think of is national minimum wage. So if an employee who is paid at the minimum wage rate, for example, works 5 hours of additional time in 1 month and then takes that time off in the next pay period, HMRC won't recognise that time taken, which they are then paid a salary for, if it's not worked in the same reference period as it's earned. The difficulty there is that the hours that have been previously worked are treated as working time in that pay reference period. So in the month that they're worked rather than the month that those hours are taken, HMRC would use that as the basis for the calculation of whether minimum wage has been paid. So businesses may find that on that straightforward calculation, the employee is actually paid under the minimum wage because they may, for example, have worked 45 hours but have only been paid 40 at national minimum wage rate, irrespective of the fact those hours have then been paid in the next pay reference period. The second issue is the position on termination. So many employees will simply insist that they are paid for any accrued toil, time off in lieu, at the point at which they leave. It's important to specify what happens with that in the policy, and I would always say that we should put something into that policy that states when an employee either is issued with notice of termination or gives notice themselves, any time off in lieu which has been accrued will be lost and there is no monetary value which attaches to it. The final issue is a practical one which has really arisen over the past few years, and that is the impact of hybrid working or home working. Typically, an employee will be responsible for logging the hours honestly that they are working, and that's fairly easy to monitor when you look, for example, for corroborating evidence such as the time that an employee is in the office, or perhaps logs showing when they're logged onto the computer system. The difficulty is when somebody's working at home, especially if you haven't got the IT capabilities to see when an employee is active. You are losing control a little bit of the employees' monitoring, and we are trusting them to log the hours as honestly as they can. We have had a couple of isolated cases where employees have actually found software that keeps the computer active, and so it appears that there is activity constantly on the machine, and that's another risk, that there could be software that creates the illusion that somebody is working when they're sat at home and might not be. So they are the risks associated with the time off in lieu system. If you do need any further advice on this, please do get in touch. Visit the website chadwicklawrence.co.uk or email employmenthub@chadlaw.co.uk. Thank you.